Hello everybody and welcome back to the free online woodworking school where we aim to take your woodworking skills to the next level. In today's video, we're going to get filling out the frame with a beautiful little panel. Let's get going. Right, so a couple of lessons ago I mentioned that I'd never actually made a raised frame and panel door before, and unfortunately I'm going to have to bottle it again this lesson because this bit of wood that I'm working with, I don't think it's going to work if I start doing a raised panel thing on it. If you just look at how stunning this material is on itself, doing anything more to it I think will just detract from what's going on here. What I'm saying is, it speaks for itself. It doesn't need any dressing up or anything. Saying that, however, we are going to need to implement some of the things that a frame and panel door does have with regards to, fitting it in the groove to start with, but also mainly to do with wood expansion and contraction, because we don't want this thing expanding and binding itself in the cabinet, or even worse, pushing this frame apart. Right, so if we look at the face of this, we obviously got some beautiful grain going on, and it's got some sort of crowned cathedral figure going on, which means it's quite difficult to see on the end grain, but I know that the growth rings are kind of arcing very shallow like this. This means that this board is very likely to shrink this way, or expand that way for that matter. If, however, the board was perfectly quarter-sawn and the growth rings were going down perpendicular to this face, and that would be indicated by some really nice straight grain on the face here, then that movement side to side would be a little bit less. And there are various calculators available online if you want to calculate that potential movement. All you need is the species of timber, the way in which it's been cut, and the minimum and maximum moisture content of the year. Once you've inserted that data, it should show you how much the board is likely to move. Now for me, I don't really tend to do that, but it's better to be safe than sorry, so I'm going to leave an entire 4 or 5 millimeters for this thing to expand and contract. And 4 or 5 millimeters might sound like quite a lot, and you might be worried about how much gap there is going to be visible on here, but keep in mind that number will be divided because it will be an equal offset from both sides. And to be honest, I'll probably go for the bigger number, 5 millimeters, and so 2.5 millimeters either side. And so firstly, to get the size of this panel, I'm going to measure the size of the inside of the frame, which I believe was 159. Yeah, 159. Then we're going to measure the depth of the groove, which I set to 6 millimeters. Let's just double check that both sides. Okay, and then 159 add 12 is 171. And so if we wanted to bottom this panel out in the groove and not leave any room for expansion and contraction, we'd cut this to 171 millimeters, but we're going to take off 5 millimeters, which makes it 166 in width in total. I'm just going to write that on here to start with. So I've got it to hand. And then we need to do the same thing top to bottom as well. Let's measure that size. And so that's 216 on the internals. And so 216 plus 6 equals 228. And because that panel is very unlikely to expand along the grain, i.e. up and down in this panel, we can make that a pretty snug fit. I'll probably cut it to 228 to begin with, see if it all assembles, and then just skim off a little bit either end if it turns out it's a little bit too snug. And I've got a tiny bit of wiggle room here just to make sure I get the grain pointing in the right direction. And so here, like that's kind of looking like the center of the arc of the growth rings. So if we can get that central, happy days. And then up here, that's kind of looking like the peak, so let's just eyeball that to be central as well. Yeah, it actually looks a little bit twisted like that, something like that perhaps. Just draw a very faint line inside. Okay, so that rectangle gives us the inside of the frame, and so I've just quickly measured halfway along that line that I've traced along, because we need to expand this panel out slightly to give ourselves a tongue to fit into the frame. So the overall width is going to be 166, so if we halve that, that makes 83. I'll line up that center mark with 83 on the ruler, and give myself a mark at 0 and another one at 166. Same again down here. And then we need to do the same top to bottom as well. Okay, so now we've got the size of the internal panel and then the size of the tongue on the outside of it. So we can rough cut this panel to the exterior of that tongue, and then we'll start planing it back to size. And by the way, just a little side note with this, if you can't be bothered to do this whole tongue and groove thing and account for the expansion and contraction and all the other fun stuff that comes with it, you can just put a simple plywood panel in here. You could get some veneered plywood or MDF or whatever, and that stuff won't expand and contract, and you can literally just cut its size and chuck it straight in there. Even better, you could just do plywood and do some like wood burning pattern on it or something like that. I don't really know, but I'm trying to film this series to make it accessible to everyone and hopefully tend to everyone's design tastes somewhat. But if you feel that you want to do something completely wacky, do it. It's a great opportunity to do it within this door frame. And just remember, with these lines that I've penciled on, those are not going to be the final lines that I'm planing back to. When I'm planing this to final size, I'm going to be measuring it with a ruler. Those lines are purely there just so I could bandsaw it to a rough size so that I could refine it now. Always double check your measurements with a ruler. Don't just go back to the pencil lines. So we'll start by doing a simple face edge on these and plane that nice and flat. I'm doing this on a shooting board because I can't be bothered to try and plane it upright in the vise. The nice thing about a shooting board this large is you can use it for long grain and also end grain as well. So now we've got one flat straight edge. That becomes our face edge. And then all of our referencing is done off that. So we'll use it to square the end grain here, flip it over end to end, square off that end grain. And then after we've done that, we'll scratch it to a parallel size. Okay, and because we don't have a panel gauge, I'm just going to put a little mark along the end grain here and one down here at, what is it, 166 millimeters, which was the overall width of the panel. And then we'll join those lines up with a very precise knife line. And then carefully plane back to that line. So I've got a little bit more to take off here than I do down here. So I'll just do a few shavings there to start with. And then as it begins to look even, that's where we start doing the long strokes. Right, so that is now sized. The next bit is going to be a little bit confusing. Try and stay with me here. So if we weren't accounting for expansion and contraction and we were trying to make this tongue bottom out in all of the grooves, we would have a 6mm tongue on all four sides. And that's true for the top and bottom because this panel's not going to shrink top to bottom. It is, however, going to expand widthways. So we took off 5mm. 2.5mm either side, if you want to simplify it. But because we've now taken 2.5 off either side, it means it's only going into the slots 3.5mm. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the next part we're going to be doing is scratching a shoulder round here for the tongue. And what you don't want to do is scratch the shoulder to 3.5mm and then the top here for 6. Yes, it will fit perfectly within the panel. You won't have any gaps around the outside, but that's exactly the problem. There will be no room for expansion because it won't be the ends of the tongues restricting it. It will then be the shoulders of the actual panel itself that will be restricted by the frame and will be unable to expand. And so what we really need to do is create a 6mm tongue around all four sides. That will create a 2.5mm gap between the shoulder and the inside of the frame on the sides, but that room is going to be for expansion. Now, if you look at that, it's going to be a little bit weird because there'll only be gaps on the side, but there'll be nothing on the top and bottom. So actually, instead of going in 6mm from the top and bottom, we need to go in 8.5mm and create a fake expansion gap, or should I say a shadow gap, that creates an even black line around the outside of this panel and makes it look intentional, even, whatever. Confusing, hey? Yeah, so we'll start by getting the marking gauge set to 6mm, and we're going to scratch that up both long sides of the panel on both faces. And then we'll reset it to 8.5 for the top and bottom. Once again, scratching this round both faces of both sides, or both ends for that matter. And what you should be able to do from there is lay the frame on top of the panel and get an even offset to that line around all four edges. Hopefully you can see it there. I know it's a little bit dark, but that offset should be exactly the same. Now, if that alignment is way off, let's say anything more than 1mm, then you probably want to check your measurements again. Check that panel square, check the offsets the same, double check the internal dimensions of the frame, because chances are you got something slightly wrong there. If it's less than 0.5 millimeter out of line, then you can probably just shoulder plane or adjust the tongues after they've been cut, and you'll be able to even up that gap ever so slightly, not to mention put a very subtle chamfer on the front shoulder, and that will also help disguise any misalignment. And so the next one's fairly simple. We need to get the thickness of the tongue in order to fit into the 6 millimeter groove. This one's fairly simple. I machined this down to 12 millimeters, and that tongue is 6 millimeters wide. So we got to come in 3 millimeters from either side if we want that panel to be central. You could of course offset it if you want to, but in this case I'm just going to get it central. All right, and then we'll start rebating these. So I'm going to do this on the router table. We've done enough rebating in this project, the dovetail box project by hand. I think it's time to treat myself. Not to mention this stuff is going to be pretty disgusting to try and use a rebate plane on. It's a very curly grain. I'm going to get tear out, which by the way, doesn't really matter because the tongue's going to be shrouded within the frame anyway, but I just don't want to deal with it. I want to do it on the router table because I don't like seeing it sat there unused. All right, so I've got a large router cutter installed in here. It's about 15 millimeters in diameter. It's not a proper rebate cutter because I don't really need anything that big, but 15 mil should be absolutely fine for this. And it's currently set to be quite low. And what I'm going to do is start with the ends, take a little skim off it, check the depth, raise it up until I see it hit the line that we scratched on the end. And then once we're bang on that, I'll start pushing the fence back ever so slightly until it starts meeting the line that we've scratched along the face here. So we'll do that on both faces of both ends, and then we'll have to reset it to do the 6 millimeter one, but it'll only be the fence movement we have to change. We shouldn't need to change the height whatsoever. Obviously I've got a featherboard set up to be nice and tight, and that will ensure we get a nice consistent depth all the way across here because it's going to be pushing it down right around the cutter. And of course it shrouds the cutter as well. I literally can't get my hands in there at the moment. And the reason we're starting with the ends is if we get any breakout here, it will then be rebated when we do the long sides anyway. Whereas if we do the long sides first and then do the short sides, we might end up getting some breakout. Again, it'll probably be hidden within the groove, but it's good practice. A little bit too snug, so we've got to raise that cutter even more. Okay, so a lovely fit within the groove has been achieved. Just got to adjust the fence now so we get back to this line. Okay, so I've accounted for a lot of expansion and contraction on this, thus that gap is quite large, but at least it's even. Now, I think what I might do is just put a subtle chamfer on the outside of that, just to disguise any slight misalignment that may happen over time, and it will give it a nice little detail. The process in which I make this chamfer is pretty much exactly the same process if you were to do a proper raised frame and panel door, because like a raised frame and panel with the angled ones is what I'm referring to, is basically a large chamfer. So I'm just going for a small modern one as opposed to like a traditional large raised panel thing, because I don't really like the look of it. But if you do, go for it. And so I'm going to use a shoulder plane to make this chamfer. And I've pushed the blade all the way across in the mouth so that when I lay it like this, it's not going to start scratching up the tongue. Because even though a lot of it's going to be inserted within the frame, there may still be areas on that tongue that will be visible. So I want to make sure that that blade doesn't start scratching it. And I'm basically just going to count the number of strokes I do here so that I can make it even. Right, there you go, one frame and panel door complete. How mental does that look? I'm so happy with that material. That looks absolutely incredible. So in the next episode, we're going to get sanding it, pre-finishing some of the internal faces, including the panel itself. Can't wait to see that one. And we'll also get you know, we'll get the whole thing glued together. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and you can move on to the next video by clicking on that link below. I'll see you there.